Hey YouTube, just got something in the mail from Amazon.de. You can see the package kind of got destroyed in the shipping. Again, this was from Amazon.de, so the German Amazon site. It took about 5 weeks for this to get here. But what came was this Hazet 916 HP. Okay, and here it is, and what that is a 1/2-inch drive 90-tooth ratchet from Hazet. That's a new ratchet. Most of their good ratchets, I believe, are 80 teeth, and it's been a minute since I looked at it. Like I said, it took 5 weeks to get here, but the price on this, again, this is Hazet, so German quality, and it was like 50 bucks. So, you know, where this was probably $120 or $130 ratchet in the US, 50 bucks. It's got a biomaterial handle, very much like Snap-on or Carlisle or any of those. So the lettering is the hard stuff, and the black is a little softer. The black is significantly harder than, say, Snap-on. It's, in fact, almost indistinguishable from the plastic unless you really pay attention. It's slightly grippier than the blue plastic, but that's about it. It does have these gripping grooves, and it does have a hanger hook or the tether point if you need to tether the thing. It does feel good in the hand. Let's get into the head and talk about the head. It's got a very nice Hazet direction changer. And this is actually part of the anvil. And you see it move when I switch the selector. What that tells me is that probably this is a single pawl design. Okay. An example of another single pawl ratchet like this in 90 tooth would be like the Mac ratchets. What that means is there's one big pawl, and then there's a little pusher detent that favors which way the ratchet's going to be pushed into the corner. If you flip it this way, then the pawl moves to this side, and then when you try to turn it, when this thing turns this way, it wedges that pawl against the side of the ratchet and prevents movement. And then when you switch it this way, it moves the pawl this way, and the detent's pushing, the spring is pushing in this direction. And when you try to turn it to where this thing turns this way, it pushes the pawl against this side and locks it up. And the teeth sound very good. No skipping. It, as far as throwback or play, the teeth are cut in such a way that there's almost no distinguishable play. I do have the Mac ratchet. Excuse me, I have the proto version, and I can tell you that there is less effort involved in turning this anvil than in the proto ratchet, and that the play is less. So I do like that better about this. Now, obviously, this is some kind of clip that holds this thing together. I'm sure that's a chore to take off. It's got like one little spot right there where you can get like a pick behind it to kind of peel this thing off. And I'm sure that's peeling it off would be something you could damage. So I probably wouldn't do it very often. It is pretty well sealed, and you can see that it comes greased well from the factory. I haven't done any of that greasing. And again, this is connected. This black piece here is this. It's all one piece. So you can actually drip some gear oil or what have you right around in here, and it would feed into the ratchet just fine as far as greasing it would go. And that's honestly probably all this thing will ever need. Maybe once in 10 years or so, take the time to take it apart. I'm sure you could figure out how to call Hazet and get another little clip if you broke it. But I also haven't put it on a socket yet, but I mean, it's German engineered. I'm certain it'll fit a socket just fine. As far as head thickness goes, the head thickness is on par with other premium ratchets in this, in this quality, similar to Snap-on, similar to the Proto ratchets, similar even to the Craftsman ratchet as far as the profile. Oh, look, this actually showed just letting it go. The spring actually takes away. That is all the play there is. And then as far as lateral play, I mean, compare that to a Mac or, I mean, probably a couple of thousandths of movement. In fact, the only way I can distinguish any movement at all is to press it towards the pawl. You might be able to hear that click. Any other direction, it's just like solid, like it's one piece solid, like a breaker bar. So the Hazet 916 HP, made in Germany right there. 1,000 Newton meters of strength is what this thing can hold. 5 weeks to get here, but only $50 for the brand new, fresh on the shelves, I suppose, or fresh-ish on the shelves, Hazet 916 HP. As far as the weight, I'm not gonna weigh it, but it's a heavy ratchet. It's all there. It's not, this is not a toy. This is a tool. It's great. I'm glad I bought this. I think I'll get a lifetime of use out of it. I think my boy will inherit this ratchet from me. Well, I decided, despite my better judgment, that I'd pull this clip off and get inside this ratchet. So that was easy enough so far. It just kind of slides up. And that was correct. Let's see, nice teeth. 90-tooth design. Nice big pawl with teeth on both sides. Yeah, very, very basic ratchet design. So this ratchet is built just like the Mac ratchets, except for the back plate, or in this case, lack thereof. You've got a gear. The gear interface is the rear of the ratchet, so that you've got some protection against it torquing and damaging. It's got a shield on this side, very robust. In fact, it's held in place by a clip ring as opposed to screws. It's got a nice big heavy-duty pawl. And it looks like you get, let's see, let's count how many teeth you get. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Looks like 7 teeth engaged at any one point. So 7 teeth against 9. And as far as what that 7 teeth looks like to keep it, looks like about a quarter. Oh, sorry. It looks like about a 1/4 inch worth of surface area. 1/4 inch, really about a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch of surface area of locking engagement. The spring is soft enough that it feels like it's got about the same amount of reset torque. So in other words, you're turning the ratchet back from the way you're turning it to get another bite, about the same as a Snap-on. Not quite as serviceable as a Snap-on, but not too bad. I'm going to put some grease in it since I've got it apart, and put it back together. Not as easily serviced as a Snap-on ratchet. And I do think this ring to hold it, one ring that binds them, or whatever the quote from Lord of the Rings is, I do think this is a silly way of doing it. That wasn't so bad after all. So once you get the right feel for it, the sucker kind of drops in there. It's not as bad as I thought it would be after fiddling with it. I wouldn't Be afraid to take it apart again. So there we go. The Hazet's been apart. It's a single pawl, teeth on either side of the pawl, about a 7/2 engagement, about a 1/4 inch of surface area engagement on the from the pawl to the anvil. This does communicate all the way through. It is greasable. It is fairly reasonably serviceable. That little clip was not terrible to put back in after all. You basically have to take an angle to it. You can't try to put it in flat like I was initially. You have to feed it in at an angle all the way around, and that does the job. So anyhow, there's the complete review of the Hazet Ratchet. And once again, that part number is upside down. Once again, that part number is 916 HP. It's the new Hazet 92 Ratchet. Thanks, YouTube.